There are moments in sports when the noise around a player becomes so loud, so vicious, that the athlete himself has to break his silence. This is one of those moments. Shohei Ohtani, the man rewriting the very definition of baseball, is furious. And honestly, he has every right to be. Japanese media, a portion of the press that should know better, has spent recent weeks dragging Ohtani's personal life into the spotlight in the ugliest way possible. Shohei is abusing his wife. Mamiko is pitiful. These are not questions. These are not investigative reports. These are whisper campaigns dressed up as journalism. And now, with private information about the birth of his second child leaking into public discourse, Ohtani has had enough. A press ban has been issued. The message is clear: back off. So today, we're going to talk about what's really happening here, the media environment, the criticism, Ohtani's response, and what this all means for one of the most important athletes on the planet. Honestly, it was alarming to watch. And I want to be very specific here, because it's important not to paint all Japanese sports media with the same brush. But the segment of the press that ran with these narratives, Mamiko is pitiful, Shohei is controlling, this wasn't journalism. This was gossip packaged as concern. What struck me most was the framing. The accusations were built on nothing visible. No credible source. No direct testimony. No concrete evidence. Just speculation layered on top of the fact that Mamiko Tanaka, a former professional basketball player in her own right, has largely stayed out of the public eye since marrying Ohtani. And somehow, a private woman choosing to live privately became the foundation of an abuse narrative. That's not reporting. That's projection. And it's dangerous. Extremely damaging, and that's what makes it so irresponsible. In Japan, Ohtani isn't just a baseball player. He's a cultural symbol. Children grow up wanting to be him. Families schedule their evenings around his starts. His image carries a weight that very few athletes anywhere in the world carry. So when media outlets, even fringe ones, attach words like abuse and pitiful to his name, it doesn't stay quiet. It spreads. It gets screen captured. It gets shared. And once those words are out there, correcting them is 100 times harder than preventing them. The insidious thing about this kind of coverage is that it doesn't need to be true to do damage. It just needs to feel plausible to enough people. And because Ohtani is famously private, because Mamiko doesn't give interviews, doesn't appear on variety shows, doesn't play the celebrity couple game, that silence gets weaponized against them. Why don't they speak up? What are they hiding? That's the trap they've set. This is where it crosses a line that should not be crossable. Leaking private medical and personal information about a family, including, in this case, information related to a newborn child, is not just a journalistic failure. It's a human one. Ohtani and Mamiko did not announce the second pregnancy publicly. That was a deliberate choice. A choice that belongs entirely to them. The fact that details leaked anyway suggests either a source with inappropriate access, or a media ecosystem that has decided Ohtani's fame cancels out his right to a private family life. It doesn't. Fame is not consent. Being the best baseball player in the world does not mean your newborn's birth becomes public property. What I find particularly telling is the timing. This leak didn't come during a quiet period. It came while Ohtani is in the middle of a historic season, a Cy Young campaign, MVP conversations, a potential place in baseball history. The noise seems calibrated to follow him into his greatest moments. And that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. I think it was the right call, and I think it was long overdue. A press ban is a serious tool. It's not something you deploy lightly, because it carries consequences: reduced access, strained relationships with certain outlets, the inevitable accusations of being difficult. Ohtani and his team would have weighed all of that. The fact that they went ahead with it anyway tells you exactly how seriously they're taking this. This wasn't a reaction. This was a decision. And from the outside, the message it sends is powerful. It says, we have tried to be private. We have tried to stay out of it. We have tried to let the baseball speak. And since none of that worked, we are now drawing a hard line. What I respect about this approach is that it's not defensive. It's not an emotional press conference where Ohtani stands at a podium and pleads for privacy. That would have given the media circus exactly what it wants: more footage, more headlines, more engagement. Instead, the ban is structural. It removes access entirely. It says, in effect, you don't deserve to be in the room. That's a statement. No. And I think that's the most important thing to understand here. Ohtani expressing anger is not the same as Ohtani losing composure. In fact, I'd argue the opposite. A man who has spent years operating with almost supernatural calm, who walks to the plate after throwing 99 miles per hour, who switches between pitcher and hitter without a visible flicker of stress, doesn't break his silence unless something has genuinely crossed the threshold. This isn't rattled. This is righteous. From a psychological standpoint, there's actually something reassuring about seeing Ohtani respond with fury rather than deflection. It means he's not going to absorb this quietly. It means Mamiko has someone in her corner who is willing to publicly defend her dignity, not just privately. And for people who are genuinely concerned by the "Mamiko is pitiful" narrative, this response should put that concern to rest. The man is angry on behalf of his family. That is exactly what you want to see. It reveals a tension that's been building for years. Ohtani is arguably the most famous Japanese person on the planet right now. That level of fame creates enormous pressure, commercial pressure, cultural pressure, psychological pressure, on everyone around him, including the media that covers him. Japanese sports media in particular has a complicated relationship with its biggest stars. There is enormous reverence on one hand. And on the other, a tabloid culture that has always pushed at the edges of what's acceptable, particularly around athletes' personal lives. What's different about Ohtani is that he has never played by those rules. He didn't grow up in the Japanese celebrity system. He went to America early and built a life on his own terms: private, focused, professional. That independence makes him both admirable and, for certain media outlets, frustrating. He won't give them what they want. So some of them have decided to take it anyway. The press ban is Ohtani pushing back against that dynamic with every tool available to him. And frankly, given what's been printed, it's hard to argue he's wrong. If history is any guide, it makes him more dangerous. Ohtani has shown time and again that external pressure, noise, criticism, skepticism, doesn't diminish him. It focuses him. Remember when people said the two-way experiment would fall apart? Remember when the elbow surgery was supposed to end his pitching career? Every time the world doubted him or pushed at him, he came back and did something that made the doubters look foolish. This situation is different in nature, it's personal, not professional. But the underlying dynamic is the same. Someone is trying to destabilize him. And if you've watched Ohtani for any length of time, you know what comes next. He will go to the mound. He will throw 99 miles per hour. He will strike batters out, induce weak ground balls, navigate danger with the composure of a man who has decided the noise simply does not apply to him. And the media that tried to drag his family through the mud will be watching from the press box, or, after the ban, from somewhere a little further away. Shohei Ohtani's answer to criticism has always been the same. He plays baseball. Right now, nobody in the world plays it better.